Let's be honest, most people don't want a master's degree. They want what comes after it. The income, the city, the status, the freedom. You're not here because you love studying, you're here because you want to build wealth faster. And for years, they told you there's only one way. Go to the US, pay 100K, pray for a visa, or get into, Harvard, MIT, Stanford. But what if all of that was wrong? What if there were countries right now where you could, go get a top tier education, work at McKinsey, JP Morgan, or Google, and build a bank account in the same time? Today, I'll show you the 5 countries where studying can actually make you rich, not just educated, rich, with the visa, the salary, and the lifestyle to match. So let's get into it. First, the United States, the land of opportunity and fine print. Let's face it, for most ambitious students, the US is still the gold standard. Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Wharton, the name speak for themselves. It's the dream of walking through those glass doors in New York or San Francisco, earning a 6-figure salary before you're 25 and saying, I made it. But here's the problem. In the US, opportunity comes with condition. And unless you understand the system, you can spend 100K just to run out of time. Let's break it down. As an international student, when you graduate, you get access to the OPT visa. That's the optional practical training period. It gives you the right to work full-time for a US company after your degree. But here's the catch. For most master's program, the OPT is only 12 months. But if your program is designated as STEM, the government gives you 3 full years. That's triple the time to find a job, get promoted, and secure employer sponsorship. Now, here's where it gets tricky. We have students at BIMPrep who tell us, I want to work in the US, and that's a great goal, but you also need to understand the system clearly. Because if you're not in a STEM program, your chances of staying long-term aren't as high as they seem. Yes, it's still a better option than many European markets. Yes, the salaries and brand exposure are real advantages, but with just 12 months to land a job and get sponsored, you're working with very little margin for error. Many finance-focused programs like NYU Master in Finance don't qualify for the 3 years extension. So even if the brand is strong, your visa clock is ticking super fast. Now compare that to someone in a program like MIT Master of Business Analytics or Berkeley's MEETS, both STEM approved, both granting 3 years of OPT. That's time to build, grow, and secure a long-term option. The difference? Often not in the tuition, but in the structure of the degree. And that structure changes everything. Most US master degree will cost between 130K and 150K, including tuition and living expenses. So it's not just about the brand, it's about your exit strategy. That's why inside our masterclass, we've included a full breakdown of which program qualify for STEM and how to align your goals with the right country and the right degree. We also compare work visa policies across the US, UK, and Europe, so you can make decisions with clarity, not guesswork. So is the US still worth it? Yes, if you choose strategically. Because in the US, the name of the school matters, but the type of degree you pick, that's what decides whether you get to stay or you go home. Number 2, the United Kingdom, prestige that doesn't trap you. When people talk about studying abroad, the UK often comes just after the US in terms of reputation. London, Oxford, Cambridge, names that carry weight, especially in finance and consulting. But here's what makes the UK different. It doesn't just offer prestige, it offers breathing room. Because unlike the US, you don't need to fight for a work visa right after graduation. You get it automatically. Since 2021, all international graduates from UK university are eligible for the graduate route visa. That's 2 full years to live and work in the UK, no sponsorship required. That's huge. It gives you time to find the right job, prove your value, and switch to a long-term skilled worker visa once a company sponsors you. So no lotteries, no urgent timelines, just clarity and structure. And you don't need to get into Oxford or LSE to benefit. Top-tier program at LBS, Imperial, UCA, Warwick, or even Durham are highly respected by employers, especially in business, finance, and consulting. All the big players out there. I'm talking about McKinsey, Bain, BCG, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. Now, let me give you a real-world example. We work with several French and Italian students who got into LBS, Master in Management, not Ivy League, not rocket science, but a well-structured story and a sharp application. After graduating, one of them landed a job at JP Morgan in London, not in Paris, not in Milan, in London. And what came with it? A base salary of 65K, a bonus that easily pushed the total comp into 6 figures, a team filled with people from all over the world, and most importantly, a work culture that coaches you, pushes you and fast-track your growth. When we ask what the biggest difference was compared to staying in France or Italy, the answer is usually the same. In London, you will feel like you're in a league where everyone is trying to win, not survive, but win. If you look at the top banker in France, usually his career is going to be the same. He's going to start either in New York or in London, do the ropes, learn the basic, and come back with a very good network and with very good skills in Paris or in Milan to dominate. For me, London is the best place in Europe if you want to grow fast. So yeah, that mindset combined with structured visa, real competition in international exposure forces you to level up fast. And once you've sponsored, the skilled worker visa puts you on a 5-year track to permanent residency. Compare that to Paris. Smaller team, lower comp, more traditional structures, and fewer international fast track. You'll grow, of course, but slower. So, is the UK worth it? If you want acceleration, 100%. If you want to be around people who actually pushes you, yes. And if you want the freedom to build something beyond a 12-month plan, absolutely. Number 3, Switzerland. Understated, stable, strategic. Switzerland isn't usually the first country that comes to mind when thinking about master program. It doesn't have the global wow factor that the US or the UK has. But if your goal is to land a high-paying role in finance, pharma, or multinational strategy, it's one of the smartest moves you can make. Zurich and Geneva don't look as intense as London or New York, but that's exactly why they're attractive. They're smaller, more structured, and less saturated. If you look at the market, I'm talking about private wealth management, family offices, big pharma. I'm talking about Novartis, Roche, biotech, commodities and advanced manufacturing, for example. You'll find global employers that offer very competitive salaries, often 90 to 120 Swiss franc at entry level in finance, and even more with a couple of years experience. Now, if we look at the universities, the University of St. Gallen, HSG, is considered a powerhouse in German-speaking Europe, especially for finance and consulting. ETH Zurich ranks consistently among the top technical universities in the world, and schools like HEC Lausanne or GCM in Geneva offers a very serious program for international business economics. All of them have one thing in common: they're close to decision-making hub. In Switzerland, that matters. The line between classroom and employer is short, but personal. Visa-wise, if you're an EU citizen, it's straightforward. Work permits are generally easy to obtain, and employers are used to hiring French, German, Italian, Belgian, or Spanish graduates. But one thing to understand, Swiss culture is deeply network-driven. It's not a place where you just apply online and wait. You build relationship slowly, strategically. Your first internship, your thesis supervisor, your peer group, these are the people who will help you open doors later down the line. So, if you're looking for a place where you can study in a serious, competitive but not chaotic environment, build a high-trust network over time, and benefit from one of the best tax environments in Europe, then Switzerland makes a lot of sense. Just keep this in mind. Zurich and Geneva may not feel as exciting at first, but they give you space to grow, and a system that quickly rewards performance. Number 4, the Netherlands, efficient, international, and tax optimized. The Netherlands often flies under the radar when it comes to international students looking to study business or finance. But it's actually one of the most efficient and balanced ecosystems in Europe, especially if you're aiming for a multinational role, a tech finance crossover, or a stable international lifestyle. Let's start with the universities. Erasmus University Rotterdam is a standout, particularly its Master in Finance and Investment. Maastricht University also offers high-quality program in international business and financial economics. And several Dutch institutions are deeply connected to both academic research and private sector partnership. The country has positioned itself as a European HQ hub with major companies like Booking.com, ASML, Philips, Shell, Heineken, and Unilever based there. And beyond the Dutch giant, many US tech firms like Nike, Netflix, Uber have a very large team in Amsterdam and the Randstad region. On the finance side, the ecosystem is surprisingly deep. Euronext, the pan-European stock exchange, is based in Amsterdam. M&A boutique and private equity firms like Rothschild, EQT Group, and Uli Loki have growing teams there. Quant firms like Jane Street also recruit a lot from Dutch programs. One major advantage that often goes unnoticed is the 30% tax ruling. So, if you're not Dutch, if you are a non-Dutch professional, which include most international graduates, you can benefit from a tax exemption where 30% of your gross salary is income tax-free for up to 5 years. That's a significant difference in net income, especially compared to Paris, Frankfurt, or even London in some cases. Now, let's talk culture. The Dutch work environment tends to be structured but flat in hierarchy. open to international, English is widely spoken in business, efficient, work-life balance is often respected, even in very competitive sectors such as consulting and finance. The cost of living in Amsterdam is high, for sure, but still lower than in cities like London or New York. And for many students, the quality of life, earning power, visa system makes it a very attractive balance. On the visa side, non-EU graduate of Dutch university can apply for a one-year orientation visa to find a job, and many transition easily to regular work permits after being hired. The process is clear, digital, and supported by the government. So, who is the Netherlands for? If you're aiming to work in tech, finance, M&A, or consulting, if you're looking for a cost-efficient English-speaking environment, and if you value having international exposure without chaos, then the Dutch system offers a smart, underexposed path to build wealth and momentum. Number 5, Canada, stability, clarity, and long-term upside. Canada doesn't always make headlines in the race for prestige, but for international student who values stability, clarity of process, and long-term potential, it's one of the most solid bets you can make. Let's start with the universities. You'll find strong business and finance program in University of Toronto, Rotman, McGill, of course, University of British Columbia, Soder, HEC Montréal, which is particularly respected in the Francophone ecosystem. This school consistently places students in competitive role across consulting, banking, and tech. Toronto, especially, has become Canada's financial engine, home to the big 5 banks, RBC, TD, BMO, CIBC, Scotiabank, as well as top consulting firm and a growing tech-fin ecosystem. On the number side, financial analyst roles at bank typically start at 55 to 70K Canadian dollar, consulting analyst 65 to 85K, private equity and asset management analyst role 70 to 90K Canadian dollar. This number may seem lower than London or New York, but they come with several advantages. First, lower cost of living, especially compared to New York, San Francisco, or even London. Second, shorter work weeks and more balanced environment. Third, a path toward permanent residency and even citizenship that's relatively smooth and structured. And that last point is key. Canada is one of the most immigrant-friendly systems for international graduates. Once you finish your degree, you get a post-graduation work permit, PGWP, which lasts up to 3 years depending on your program. That gives you enough time to build experience and apply for a PR, permanent residency, through systems like Express Entry. From there, you're on a path toward full integration, something that's much harder to secure in the US or even in the UK. The job market in Toronto is competitive, of course, but not saturated the way it is in London or New York, and employers are used to international talent, especially in banking and consulting. Finally, the quality of life. Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, these are global cities with solid infrastructure, strong safety, and a good social fabric. And for many students, especially those from Europe, the idea of building a life in Canada feels accessible, not abstract. So, is Canada the flashiest option? No, but it's reliable, and for students who wants to play the long game, without burning out, fighting for visa, or sacrificing quality of life, it's one of the most rational, balanced options on the table. So yeah, it's not about the school, it's about the setup. At the end of the day, this isn't just about where you study, it's about what you're building. A master isn't just a degree, it's a lever, it's a place, it's a moment in your life where things can shift, upward, outward, forward. Some people choose based on brand, others choose based on habit, but the ones who actually go further choose based on strategy. The visa, the job market, the cost of living, the strength of the network, the clarity of the system, the real chances of staying, growing, and actually earning. You know, you only do one master in your life. So it's worth asking, what life do I want to design around it? Because you're not just choosing a school, you're choosing a city, a legal framework, a language, a career pace. A circle of people will define the next 5 years of your life. This video wasn't meant to give you one answer. It was meant to give you perspective, because once you have that, the right decision doesn't just feel logical, it feels obvious. Hope you like this video, and I'll see you super soon in the next one.